Hello, dear friends. Wow. I'm going to just say wow. As I'm moving through this landscape that I've been sharing here on my channel, there's always like a deepening and then dropping in and a seeing more or seeing more clearly, or it becomes more obvious because as we separate more and more from this false identity that we have never even questioned before. And you really start seeing it. And you start seeing and feeling what it does, what it says, what it suggests, what it's trying to convince you of. It's all happening here. Little whispers, whispers, whispers. I think I did a video on that. You can click the link up here about the whispers that are actually running our life unconsciously. But what we're doing now is we're making it more and more conscious. And then you can see it for what it is. And that moment you have a choice. I know I've talked about this so much, but it's a deepening and deepening process. And at a certain point, you just see it all the time, what this little sucker is trying to um, convince you of. And the more you get out of that really sticky, heavy, yucky energy, you go, oh, wow, oh, wow. So in my last video, I talked about Amazon and comparing it to God. Here's the link. And of course, it's a crazy metaphor, but when I was shown that, it was really an eye opener to see how this underlying not trusting, not believing it's just there, right? Because we live in this 3D reality, also known as the false matrix. And that is what the false matrix does. It pumps in fear and limitations all the time. And we don't want to feed that anymore. One moment, my cat wants in. Hold on. Wow. Open the door for him. Let's see. There he is. Want to come up? I hope you enjoy that my cat is included in the videos here. Yeah, you can come up. So let's get back to this underlying, limiting, pulling down energy. Until we really make that a priority to see it for what it is and to catch it, we really have no ability to change. And we want to change, right? We want to come out of this limitation and fear and anxiety and division and cutting ourselves off. It's like we cut ourselves off at the knees by constantly undermining ourselves. What I see is what it takes is to completely say no to all the limitations, to all the negativity, to all the fear mongering. And this is not a small task, by the way. This is an ongoing thing. And eventually, speaking from my own experience, it becomes more natural to just see it and immediately not engage. The work for all of us is to get out, pull out of how we engage with that. You will not know how to do that until you know what you're engaging with unconsciously and probably consciously too, but most of it is unconscious. And that's why our lives don't change, because we keep repeating day after day. Like when you get up in the morning, just pause before you jump out of bed, before you check your phone, your email, whatever it is. Pause and notice what thoughts, what feelings, what expectations are going through your head. Very powerful. If you want to write them down, it's like get them out of there and put them on paper so you can see them, and then you will be able to recognize them more. I think that's a very, very important and powerful practice for all of us to really catch ourselves like first thing in the morning, what do you give your attention to? The project, the money, the lack of money, the bills, the challenges, the world. The world is big right now. Catch yourself because it doesn't do any good to engage with them. Of course, if we need to pay our bills, and we all do, we go and do what we need to do. But to keep thinking about it and the problems and the this and the that and the neighbors and the kids and it's really like it's just a bad loop, a bad cycle. And it's just looping and looping and looping, and we have to cut somewhere to stop the looping. And we do that by catching it and then having a clear choice to not do that anymore. And you can say, you can use something that helps you come back to your sovereignty where you are in charge. And you can say, no, I'm not going to do it anymore. No, I will not touch that anymore. This has to change. I'm pulling out of it. I'm not interested. Things where you take charge of your life, of your decisions, of your choices, of what you want. Unless you want to loop around, I doubt anybody wants it. But the belief, of course, is that you can't get out of it. That's another belief. That's another loop. I can't get out of it. So you need to really start catching all these negative, undermining, limiting, I can't do it suggestions. This is important, my friends, because when you see what it is that you do, then you go, holy moly, I don't want to do that. What happens many times is the second after you say that, you're right back in, right? Because this thing keeps spinning and it's like a vortex, just pulls you in. You're gone again. So that's why having, your attention on what that is that runs this background noise of limitation, lack, disease, conflict, blaming, all that stuff. We have to come back here. And when you're in here, am, I am. Take a deep breath and know that whatever you spin around in is happening as an experience from your I am. It is not your I am, it is an experience that your I am presence is having. And that is why that frame, that slide is in front of I am. And that is what you keep experiencing, repeating, spinning in, because you are engaging with it. Nobody else is engaging in your spin. This is a very personalized, unique one for you. But here's the thing, it is actually not personal. It is impersonal. And this I remember from Joel Goldsmith, he would say it's all impersonal. It feels personal and it becomes personal in our experience when we believe it's personal. But it's not, it's the programming from the false matrix, whatever that is. But it is not yours. And it only becomes yours when you make it yours, when you personalize it. Like, I am not good enough. I. That's when you personalize the impersonal false matrix, which is just a bombardment of hypnotic suggestions of limitations and not good enough. And I can't do it and powerlessness. So first we have to see what this bombardment is. That can take time. And I would highly suggest here that you reach out for support. You're welcome to reach out to me. This is what a big part of my work is, to help people make the unconscious conscious first in a very safe, non-judgmental, loving space. And then it's easier to just slip out enough to see it. And then we really need to make it a practice, a daily practice. If I say 24/7 practice, some of you may go, no, that's too much. Eventually, it just becomes that, because when you start seeing it, even it's for a second here, a split second there, something in you will go, oh, yeah, yeah, I see it now. And then you're in it again, right? It's like it just spins the web and covers you again. It is easier to do it with somebody who can see it and help you with that. And it's almost like it opens a bigger space, because when there's two doing it together, this I am is more present, and you're more able to see what the spin is and how you get pulled in. What is it in you that you believe that pulls you back in with your consent? So we don't want to give our consent to this anymore. The one that puts our trust and faith in something outside of ourselves, like Amazon that I talked about yesterday, as silly as that may sound. But when you understand, and see that connection, you'll get one of these aha moments. And we want to get aha moments all the time until we are one big open aha, where it's not a surprise anymore. It's just like, huh, here it is. And then of course, we can choose to take back our sovereignty by saying no to what we don't want. My own experience right now, it's kind of fascinating, is that I cannot even understand right now how I have been giving away my sovereignty to such nonsense, to so many limitations and undermining and not trusting myself. And in the past, before I learned about true self-love, I was critical of myself and judging myself, and I doubted myself, and I was ashamed of myself. Horrible way to live. And I know most of us have that. It's horrible. So over time, I stopped that, came back here, but then there's these other layers of of still trusting something outside of ourselves and not fully trusting that we are the divine, that it's not a divine out there, bestowing goodness on us or withholding goodness from us. That's all still duality. We need to come back here and realize that I am the feeling, the felt sense of I am the creator of my own experience or my own reality. There's no separation. So that's why if my reality is that I don't have what I need, I'm sick, I'm unhappy, that is the reality that I am creating through a filter of limitation. This filter is simply a programming from the false matrix or hypnotic suggestions from the impersonal matrix. Hypnotic suggestions works for me because that's one that Joel Goldsmith used a lot. And for those of you who've been listening to me know that Joel Goldsmith had a huge impact on my spiritual awareness and opening up many years ago. But I still had to move through all these layers, just like we all do. It's not like a one snap of a finger. It's simply a layer upon layer. And that's why now I'm just noticing how often this negativity comes in and how often I still have been engaging with it and let that decide my actions or lack thereof. It's just becoming more and more and more obvious. And in that obviousness, there's a very clear no inside of me. Very clear, like no. It's not this big, 2x4 that I have to slam it with, which I kind of had to in the beginning. It was like I had to fight my way out of that. But now it's more like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. And I believe there is a video on that too. You can just simply say, I'm not interested. There's no emotion, there's no fighting, there's no drama. There's just like, no, I'm not interested. You don't need to defend yourself or justify it. It's just like, no, I'm not interested. So let's keep going, my friends. We are marching out of the old matrix. And by leaving the matrix behind, we are literally beginning to find ourselves more and more in and as the new earth. We have to remember that we already are the new earth. But we are not experiencing it because of these filters, these limitations. I'm not good enough. I can't do it. That's all, but it's a lot. But it is literally, it's that veil or those suggestions that just keep covering us so we can't really see what is here. But we can, once we choose to see what it is that holds us back over and over every morning. I think the morning is a great time to remember, you might have a little ding or something to remember, oh yeah, what was it? Oh, I have to see what my thoughts are trying to tell me now. And then you see all the fear, the negativity, the limitations, the memories, the looping. Right there, right there. You're super conscious because you can see it. Oh, wow. And you might get an oh wow out of it and see, this is insane. What a way to wake up. And then that colors your morning because after you get up, that loop keeps going. You go to the bathroom, the loop keeps going. You go to the kitchen, you make your breakfast, the loop keeps going. And you are not doing anything about it because you didn't catch it in the first thing in the morning. You can catch it any time, by the way, but the first thing in the morning is really a nice way you can set the stage for the day and at least choose, I will do my best, my very best to not, or to catch these things, to catch these loops and to not engage in them. That already is huge. So I wish you I was going to say, I wish you luck. I wish you inspiration and grace and sovereignty on this journey out of the old, outworn false matrix, so you can begin to live in and as and from the new earth, where all that limitation is nothing, nothing, zero. But that's only something we find out by doing this work. So give it a chance, give it a try. Please comment below. Let me know how that works for you. And do reach out if you need support in this. Wishing you a beautiful day.